Uh, I don't know how much time I have to film this review. Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry for the bad lighting as always, but that's a constant with this. You know that. But trying to get in the light here. But this is Trenchie back again to bring you another video. And this time we are reviewing a movie called Haunter. I think it's 2013. I'm not sure. It stars Abigail Breslin and I think the other guy's name is like Paul Mahady or Stephen Mahady. Um, and there's some other people in it too. But of no, Abigail Breslin. You'll know her from Zombieland and Scream Queens, all that. Okay, so this movie's about it. It's hard to explain. Well, I'll try. So there's this girl in this time loop. She's in like this time loop and she doesn't know why. And in the beginning of the movie, we're thrust right into it. She's in this time loop. She's aware of the time loop. No one else is, and it's like her family's just going for everyday life. A couple of their items are missing. Like one kid's missing his glasses. There is some laundry missing from the washing machine. Um, Spark plugs are missing from the car and shit. And yeah, so they're all stuck in this cycle, and there's a strange mist surrounding the house. And half of this movie is this girl trying to find out what's going on. Abigail Breslin's character trying to find out what's going on. And then the other half of the movie is her knowing what's going on, kind of, but trying to solve the other half of it. Because there is a twist reveal in the middle of the movie, and then there's kind of a twist at the end. Um, most of this review is probably gonna be spoilers, but I did really enjoy this movie. Abigail Breslin carries the movie really well. Um, she's our main character, and we feel for her. Is her performance perfect? No, but there are a couple cringe moments. But she is a great performance. The person that plays the character known as the Pale Man, we find out his name later, but the Pale Man, he's really good. He has a Willem Dafoe thing going on, mixed with a little bit of Tobin Bell, which I really enjoy. He is really good, and the fathers. There are two fathers in this movie. They're both really well acted as well. Everybody brings a solid A game. Um, the first half of this movie is pretty damn claustrophobic. Um, Very creepy and eerie. A lot of tension building. A lot of on your toes type of situation. The second half is kind of like that as well, but there's also more of a fantasy thing going on with it, and very much a mystery as well. Not that the first part doesn't have a mystery, but with this, it's more. Uh, it's more of a mystery and a slash fantasy type thing. There are some beautiful shots in this movie. Like there's one moment where the scene is shot like it would be like an old movie theater. You know, with that vintage kind of tint to it. You'll know when you see this part. Um, and there's other scenes that are shot very dreamlike with like stuff floating in the air and very misty, and it's just very well done. I really liked the visuals of this film. Um, there's definitely a Shining feel to this movie, as well as an Amityville horror feel to this movie, um, which I like. It was really hard to pinpoint the year that these people were in. I finally figured out it was 80s from like some David Bowie posters and stuff. But there's also very much a 90s feel to it. Like, you would think these people might be living in the 90s, but the people that at least the family we're following is living in the 80s. Um, and yeah, our villain, like I said, he's really cool. The character known as the Pale Man, who's kind of like our villain characters. Very cool, very menacing. And even the father of the girl of Abigail Breslin, he can get scary at some points too. Um, it's really well done, especially since half this movie you don't know what's going on. I caught the first twist pretty well, like I caught that one right away, but the second twist I didn't really see. Like, I thought it was cool, like that thing, like, oh, it's like this type of shit. This is some crazy shit. Um, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. Um, is this a perfect film? Is this like a film that broke boundaries or anything? Not really, not really. There's probably other films that have done stuff along this lines and done it better. Probably not all these elements mixed together. Because it can get a little confusing at sometimes. I won't say convoluted because I don't think it's convoluted, but there is a couple things where it's a little confusing. You could probably, if you looked hard enough, you could probably pick a lot of plot holes out of this. But at the same time, I think it's a very well done, unique story. Um, like I said, it's not like this hasn't been done before, especially from the time it's at. But at the same time, mixing all these elements together was pretty unique in my eyes. Um, Abigail Breslin, well, not perfect, really does a good job. Like I said, you can really tell. I think this was after Zombieland, but you can really tell her potential in the future. When she went on to did stuff like Scream Queen, which is a pretty good comedy horror show and stuff like that. So you can see that potential in her. Um, and she really does do a fine job with the movie. You care about her character. You want her character to, solve this problem and live. Like in the beginning, you're a little annoyed by her, but that's just because she's like she's like way into this time loop. She's been living this time loop over and over again. So she's frustrated and taking it out on the people around her. So she does kind of come off as kind of bratty, but once you figure out what's going on and you're like, "Oh, that's why she's like that." Very well done. Um I'm going to say something else. Um yeah, like it yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say, but yeah, like I said, not a perfect movie, but I actually really like this film. I'll give it a, I'll give it a, I'll give it a 6.5, slightly above average. I did really enjoy this film. It's nothing. It's not it's not the bee's knees or whatever. I don't think that's a term that's used anymore, but I'm using it now. We're gonna bring that shit back. I know it was never cool, but I don't care. We're gonna make it cool. But yeah, um, I I do think it's worth a check out. It's an interesting film to say the least. And yeah, now to the spoiler section, because I gotta talk about spoilers on this one because this is like all the real interesting things happen in the spoilers. Okay, one, we find out that okay, spoilers are starting now. I snapped. Okay, one, we find out the family we are following is dead. They died from um was it carbon monoxide coming out of the car. They were all kind of suicide murdered in the car by the father. Um None of them remember though. And none of them even know they're dead. They're all living in this time loop. Only Abigail wakes up, and Abigail Broslin's character realizes that there is a time loop. She doesn't know why it's going on until the Pale Man, also known as Edgar Moeller, shows up and threatens her and is like, you gotta go back the fuck to sleep. Like, you can't be fucking around with shit. It's like, if you try to contact the living, I'm gonna hurt your family. I'm gonna put you down, bitch. She finds out she's dead. She finds out that this ghostly thing that's been going around the house is a living person living in the house. That she starts contacting. I think her name's Olivia. Forgot what Abigail Broslin's character's called him. But she tries contacting and warning Olivia, and then we find out that Olivia had picked up a necklace, and that's what woke up Abigail Breslin's character. And this guy, Edgar Moeller, had been killing people since, I think it was like at least the 50s, but I think he might have even stretched back to maybe the late 40s. But he had been killing people since the 50s, and he was a serial killer that owned the house, and he died in the house, and when he died in his house, the spirit lived on and possessed a member of the family that moved in, each family that moved in, and had them murder the rest of the family, and then he kind of kept them as a collection in his house over the years as for his own little amusement, trapping them. And each family member and character has an object that could wake them up. The little boy has the glasses. That's how he finds out he was dead. The mother has the clothes that she packed to escape the missing clothes from the laundry because she found out the father was possessed and going to murder them. Well, she didn't know he was possessed, but she found out the father was going to murder them, and she packed her clothes. She packed some clothes. The father had the spark plugs. He had the spark plugs because he knew what he was going to do. And with Abigail, of course, it was the necklace that was found by Olivia. But yeah, she slowly had started to break the time loop, and then the Pale Man put her back in her place. She finds out she can possess Olivia's body. She can help with stuff, which I really wish we could have saw more of Olivia's point of view on her own, but we only saw it through Abigail possessing her body. We only saw it from Abigail's character's point of view. And a lot of cool stuff with that, like she's going around, she's touching these objects, she runs into more ghosts, and then there is a point where all of her family's wake, like I said, and they all cross over, but she chooses to stay behind, to stop, Mueller. And that's where we get that old Vincent Feeder part where we get to see the Pale Man possessing this kid. I forgot his name. I think his name was also Edgar. And suffocating the family because he's possessed by the Pale Man, aka Edgar Moeller. And that was also the imaginary friend that the one kid was seeing. She then is able to possess the body, and she gets far into stopping the Pale Man because he had possessed the father of Olivia's father and was gonna do the same thing that Abigail's father did to her, was gas him in the car with the car monoxide, But she's able to get free. She's able to contact the kids in the basement, and they don't respond right away. But she's able to get outside, and the Pale Man gloats about how he doesn't need him anymore because he's adding someone new to his collection, and that he's gonna murder her, and every time she tries to fight, but this time is gonna be her final death. But all the kids, all the dead, all the dead kids rise up, and they bring him into this like spirit area with like mist around them and stuff, and they all consume him and murder him. They all come together to finally free themselves from this cycle. They're all awake, they're all aware, because he had kept them asleep, all stuck in their own personal purgatory. And now that they're awake and aware, they all fight back. And they were able to defeat him. And then Abigail's reunited with her family in heaven. Her name's fucking Lisa. Her name's Lisa. Jesus. Okay, yeah, so Lisa, Abigail Breslin's character, is reunited with her family in what we think is heaven. The cycle is broken. It is now her birthday, which was the day after. They were stuck like in the day before her birthday. And she gets a bike, and she opens the door, and all you see is a bright light, and she rides the bike out, and then all you hear is like a soft whisper of the voice Lisa, which we were hearing the whole movie from, which turned out that was Olivia trying to contact Lisa. And we don't know if it's still contacting her at the end, like in heaven, or what's going on, but we're made to believe it's a happy ending. Very interesting movie, very... Like I said, there are a couple parts of this confusing. I wouldn't call it convoluted. I know some people might, but I know there is a lot of complicated moving parts to this film. But it all wraps up really nicely in a little bow at the end, and I enjoy this movie. I say you should check it out. Definitely worth a watch. Very underrated gem. Haunter, man. Check out Haunter. Think it's 2013. I'll let you know in the title. Anyways, you guys have a nice night. Stay frosty. This is Trenchy signing off. Beep up boop.